Good morning, walkers, and welcome to City Walks, a relaxed travel channel. I'll get into that in just a second here. My name is Henry, and I will be your... Hold on here. I'm going to tell you where we are in just a moment. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide in this little exploration as we wander about the place where we are. I'm going to tell you that in just a second here, but I'm going to see if you can figure it out maybe. We've walked here before at a different season, and I thought, well, actually I was going to go walk somewhere else, and I thought I saw the view and I was like, oh, this is going to be good, so I came up here. Again, this is sort of ad hoc. That's how we run this channel, and I will talk. I think you'll start to guess where we are as I pan around here, and that's right, we are in Livingston, Montana. But we are up on top of the hill where there's an octagonal house. We're above the white rockfish. I'll walk down here and kind of show you where we are and get a better view. We won't see the fish from here, but we might get down low enough later to see it. If you like this channel, please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. That really does help us out. And if you make it all the way to the end of this walk, it also helps if you guys would click on one of the click-through videos at the end. Oh, you can see the white P part of that down there, and I don't know if you can make it out over there. Just sort of laterally over there is below the octagon house is the fish, I think. Notably visible from below. If you look down south, along all those beautiful yellow cottonwoods going down towards Paradise Valley and the wine glass off to the right, you can also see some snow up high and those low-hanging clouds. That's kind of what made me think, it'd be a great walk from up here. So that is what we're going to do today. This is kind of up where they have the wireless transmission towers, the radio towers, all that fun stuff. And also a lot of broken glass and pottery and detritus up here. Not as bad as it could be. I think a lot of the lighter stuff gets blown away. But that's kind of what we're doing today. There's the Yellowstone as well. I just love the view from up here. There's, you get kind of 360-degree views. What we're going to do is to walk down towards the train tracks and see what we can see. I was going to talk about relaxed travel. So I've started watching these YouTube videos about how to grow your channel and all that stuff. And one of the things is to really focus in on what you are offering people. And for a while I thought it was travel, and for a while I thought it was treadmill walking, and I think both of those are relevant. I'm going to unplug something real quick. And I'm taking the headphones off. There's a slight delay between the wireless mic that I'm using and the headphones, so it's a little distracting to me. Anyway, so I was thinking about it, and it's not really, it is travel. It's a little bit of treadmill walking. At least I hope those are useful for both people, but it's not just, hosted travel shows, 10 best things to do kind of thing. And so I kind of settled on relaxed travel, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. I think that's kind of what we're doing here. It's not quite travel, it's more of a relaxed walk. But as I travel, I hope to do more and more of these and show you guys new and different places. A quick note, I have on my to-do list to look into finding some filters for this DJI Osmo Pocket 2. If any of you have one of these and can recommend a filter brand that has a polarizer, that would be great. this last walking through all those trees, I had my sunglasses on, and that was it was just so beautiful. And then when you take the sunglasses off, which are polarized, the colors just aren't quite as vibrant. And I want to share that vibrancy, that experience with you guys where we go. So I thought, and it'll cut down on glare of water and make the clouds pop a little bit more. And so I have it on my to-do list, but I have a lot of other things on my to-do list as well, including paid work. So if you know of any, let me know as part of the research process. I'd appreciate that. As we walk and meander down the hill here, keep in mind as we walk down, I'm doing that so I'm not huffing and puffing walking up. Also, it's a good place to start. But I will have to walk up here to get my car later. Another thing is these, I don't want to impose on people's privacy over here, but you can see all this open land back here, some of which is people are running cows on, but I think some of it might be owned by the city. And I finally got some mountain bikes for my kids. I've been able to source those. I've been looking around all summer, and the shortages these days made it very challenging to find that, but I finally found them. And I want to find some local trails to go on. It's a great way to get these guys outside, get myself outside, aside from walking videos, of course. And I want to, there's some that I just, some open ground where I showed you, and then there's going to be some up here on the right as well as we make our way downhill. It's just a beautiful, beautiful morning. It is late October, about 10 o'clock. 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 3 degrees Celsius. I usually say that right off the bat, and I actually looked it up, but then I forgot. So we're on Goat Mountain Road here. Goat Mountain Drive, I guess. And we're going to meander, but you can see over this house some 2-track and some open ground. Was 5 acres for sale this summer. I'm not sure if it's still the case. I'll swing around here in a minute and show you where the water tower is, and then we'll get a view of some of the new building that's going on west of town, where I've also done some walks, not in the neighborhood over there, but along the Fleshman Creek Trail. It's actually called the Bozeman Connector Trail, although I don't think it connects us to Bozeman. Perhaps that was an ambitious name for future dreams. You can see the clouds low hanging over the, well, it's not really the Bridgers yet over there. It's kind of some foothills towards Odell Creek, O'Ray Creek, in the I-90 corridor. If you have any questions about Livingston or about the area, or any of my videos really, please let us know in the comments section. I will do my best to answer them. I do respond to all the comments that make it through the YouTube filter, and as long as they are not inappropriate or rude or spammy. And I try to be relentlessly positive on this channel, so if I do get those, I pretty much just delete and block. I don't mind criticism, I don't mind suggestions, I don't mind corrections. And I think I've said this before, actually several times, that one of the joys of this channel for me is the community, the comment section, and interacting with you guys and getting to know some of you and hearing some of your stories as well. It's really been a lot of fun. I want to thank you, the patrons, too. I set up a Patreon account this summer and didn't really think anybody would sign up for it. You know, it's just a walking channel. But I have 4 or 5 people have signed up, and I want to thank you guys for your support and your, you know, the money does help, but it's really that vote of confidence that is just to bring some joy to my life. So I'm going to swing you around behind us. Up that little road is the water tower. Behind that angular house and the spruce tree. Oh, got an alarm going off. Supposed to be doing my stretches today. Swing you back around here. And this little ravine has looks like some bike trails that might be fun. And then up and over. I was talking about those before. I don't know if I've walked over to the north side with you guys yet. I mean, we're on the north side, but the north side soccer fields, which I don't really understand the directions that people use in this town. The north side soccer fields are over there, but they're kind of on the west side, southwest side almost. But that's okay. I think I've said before, the grid of Livingston is not laid out north-south. It's on a 45-degree angle from north-south. And so people talk about east and west, north and south, but it doesn't really follow the road. So I find it incredibly confusing when people talk that way or give those kind of directions, and I really have to noodle it out. Again, as problems go, that's a pretty small one. You know, I've been reading this book by Shane O'Malley, an Irish, I guess he's a scientist, it's called Walking, and it's all about walking, and he's, a lot of it is very technical, talking about neuroscience and brain anatomy and that sort of thing. But he does talk about the basis of the book is how healthy walking is for us physically and mentally, and how it helps with memory and mood and creativity and all that sort of thing. And it doesn't just have to be outside. It can be on a treadmill, maybe watching one of these videos. But it stimulates the brain in a way that makes us happier, makes us more creative, and allows us to link different thoughts and semi-thoughts and subconscious thoughts together. And it improves memory. So just thought I'd give that a shout out. And the whole point is I'm walking along here, and the sunlight and the clouds and the mountains and the colors are all bringing a smile to my face. I hope it's bringing a smile to your face too. I hope you're having a great morning, great afternoon, whenever you're watching this. I was intending to go walk up Seuss Creek again. There's some aspens up there, a nice beautiful grove of aspens, and they may have lost their leaves already in that last snow, but I thought I could check. But then I saw these clouds and the light, and I thought I'll just walk in town today. I'll get up high, show you guys a nice view. A little bunny in the street ahead of us. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I think I walked down to the left this summer, I think it was in June, maybe May. But I'm going to head straight down to show us get a view of the rail yards and downtown. And then I'm going to loop around to another part that I don't think we have really seen before. Could be wrong. This is the Church of Latter-day Saints, I believe. Their temple. Off to the right. I should really be... Oh, here's our little bunny friend, sorry. Hey there, little bunny. 2 of them. Hey there, guys. Probably chonking up for a long winter's sustenance. I was going to say I should be monitoring the audio here, even though it's a little distracting. That's the whole point of my system. So I'm going to plug in. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with anything. As we walk down towards downtown. I have a lot of subscriptions to, or subscribe to a lot of different walking channels. I like the virtual travel aspect of them, and just seeing what other people are doing. I think that's always a good way to learn and educate myself and come up with some new ideas, be inspired by other walkers. And there's a gal named Angela from London who has changed her name of her channel a few times now, and I think it's called Rambling Rambles or something like that with Angela. And she was asking about the audio setup, and I thought, well, maybe I should I don't want to get too far off of the walking stuff, but I would kind of like to share the various setups that I've used over the years and my thoughts on those. So maybe I'll do that in the next weeks aside from the normally scheduled walks, which I normally do on Mondays and Thursdays. I publish on Mondays and Thursdays. And obviously I film all different days whenever the opportunity arises or the necessity arises. Obviously, if I'm publishing at 6 a.m. local time, I'm not filming day of. Look at these colors. Beautiful. I should be calling out the street names as we go here. We're on Main, and this is the corner that crosses Montana here. I love this little sign. It says, warning, steep hill, no travel when snow packed or icy, must use Montana Street. So they've got this paved road they maintain about, I guess 9 months of the year. Inertia, right? Look at these. I think I mentioned this on my Myers Riverview Trail walk, the most recent one. I'm shocked. We had this just 2 days of snow and ice, and I thought for sure that all these leaves were going to just shrivel up and drop like happened last year, but they really haven't. A lot of them have stuck around, and they're still giving us a nice show of color. Just blowing my mind with nature's palette. often thought about or daydreamed about living up here. I think it's probably pretty rugged up here in the winter with the wind, which can be 70 or 80 miles an hour. That's not unusual. So you can see, looking straight down Main Street of downtown and the rail yards. That's the Montana Rail Link rail yards, and from what I understand, their business is adding and removing extra locomotives to get trains over the passes. Of course, Livingston used to be a massive train town. Well, that's probably not the right descriptor. The town used to depend highly on the railroad. I guess rail link. Everybody just calls it the railroad. And in the 80s, part of whatever was employing people left, and they lost like 20 or 30% of their population very rapidly. You've got some informal pathways here that are, looks like somewhat maintained, but also somewhat just poached. There's the book I'm reading called that something that's like preference paths or something like that. You know, you get these park designers and engineers and that sort of thing, and they design these beautiful parks with their well thought out pathways, and then people cut across because they're not actually serving the useful purpose that commuters or people that are using the parks might want. And I thought that was interesting. There's no judgment there one way or the other. I think people use the landscape as they see fit. These plants here are some sort of, I think they're either black-eyed Susans or sunflowers, but I've been seeing them a lot this year. They're really pretty when they're in bloom. And they are, oh, here's another little bunny down in the alley. They tend to grow in disturbed areas, so on the sides of roads and any place that has disturbed soil. And here they seem to be growing through the black top and that little curb. So this road, which is second, I believe, it's probably not second actually, it's probably third, loops around. And so we'll follow it a little bit, and then we will, oh, here's a deer. I was wondering, just thinking about, we've seen all these rabbits and no deer yet. There's a doe up there, looks like a mule deer. And then we'll make a left and sort of parallel that gully we saw earlier, heading south. Kind of gotten warm walking along with all my layers. Deer is sort of looking at us through the lilac bushes. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3 deer. We just finished up archery season here, which is of course illegal in town. And we got a few weeks before rifle season really starts as we turn on to Montana off of 3rd. Hi there, ladies. Hi. Very wary, kind of surprised, it looks like, to see us. I find that if you angle your shoulders away and your face away, like you're not walking towards them, it sort of puts them a little bit more at ease. Of course, they're sort of loading up for the winter. I don't want them to burn any extra calories that they don't have to. I think I have to go down this road or drop down into that gully. Let's drop down into the gully. This is Yellowstone. So down low, in the main part of town, Yellowstone is where a lot of the big schmancy houses are, historic homes. And it's still super wide up here. Look how wide this street is. And I'll walk down right down kind of the middle. It's interesting to see that it's that wide up here as well. It's a different surface. It's cement down there. And you've got sort of 60s, 70s split level and whatever ranch style homes up here. And you know, what are we, about 10 days from Halloween? So people have got their Halloween decorations out in some places. And I've seen two, most of them are inflatable, cutesy things, fun things. I've seen a couple that are really kind of creepy. Some, our friends took some baby onesies and stuffed them full of, I don't know, cotton or something. And those are, and put like doll heads on them. Super creepy. Hung them on their fence, not by a noose or anything, just sort of as part of the lights, draped them over the sides and stuff. And then another one was this kind of European looking, it was made out of willow and moss and leaves and branches, and had, I think it had some antlers on top. It looked more like a witch type thing, like real pagan monster. Unfortunately, we will not see those up here. Ooh, somebody had a house fire over here. That's unfortunate. Yikes, I bet that was scary. And expensive too. Looks like you got a travel trailer and a few other things. Hopefully nobody was hurt. I think I would have read about it or heard about it if there had been. look over here, you can see how it might be kind of fun to be riding some of these trails. Off to the left as well. You can also see why people love it here. You know, a calm morning like this, all these beautiful mountains, wonderful trails all around us. And it's like that. Well, this year with the smoke, it was a different story. But, you know, you get 3 or 4 months of getting out in it before the wind picks up and the temps drop and the light goes away, and then it can be about 7 to 8 months of just a grind. Although if you like skiing, if you like cross-country skiing or snowshoeing, there's plenty of opportunities to get back out into the wild if you dress for it. These houses are some newer builds. We're about to cross 7th. This is Summit that we're on. Pardon me. You might see some political signs coming up. We have a city council election here. I think possibly county as well. Some city council people running, and then I think we have some charter issues and all the nuts and bolts of local government, which I think is important for all of us to take part in. That's going to be the extent of my perambulation, pontification as I call them, today. Somebody's building a new place up here too. Nice. I think there was a while where all new builds had to be big, 3,000 plus square feet houses. I've seen a lot, a couple up on the hill there, this one, that are not giant. And I, having traveled a lot and stayed for a month at a time in various little apartments, it's amazing how little space we really need, how little space we can get by on. And I kind of like that. As you anchor yourself to a place and start to take advantage of the local recreation, you start to accumulate stuff. And so, honestly, what I found is that, or what I've settled on is that, for me personally, the space that I need is a lot of storage space. Space for skis and sleds and rafting gear, and books, a lot of books, and that sort of thing. Though I will say, having a lot of space is pretty nice. It's a nice perk. Crossing 9th, walking along Summit. And so where we're headed is what I was speaking about earlier at the beginning, the Northside soccer fields. Another great community asset where I was going to say they're kind of new, but they're really not. Probably 10 years old or so. And but you know, it's a place for people to fly kites when they're not playing soccer, play soccer, recreate. And I think it's, walking is a great exercise, as I talked about earlier, but any exercise, especially for kids, to get them moving, get them outside, get them vertical, and get the blood pumping. It's really good for their bodies, for their well-being, just like adults. Crossing 10th. So I'm going to go down this road because I think I can loop around. You can probably hear that construction, and they have put in a new road over here in the last year or so. And this is where most of the new building is taking place. They're putting in roads and sewers, waters, all that stuff. And kind of putting in the, I don't want to call it cookie cutter, but fairly uniform looking homes. Excuse me. I hope I can get it around here. Look how far you guys have come. We came from all the way up by those towers. We'll see them better here when we get past the trees. That's a long ways, guys. A long ways. And there used to be a path through where they're building now. Probably must have been an informal path. So we are headed kind of southwest in this direction. South being off to the left, obviously. I'm so glad I got this wireless audio thing. I remembered it and then got it figured out. Pardon me. Makes things so much simpler. We're on Reservoir, crossing 11th. I'm going to spin us around just a little bit because I believe they call it Reservoir. because maybe somewhere on a plat somewhere it heads up to that hill. Just to the left of the towers up there is the water tank for the town, the reservoir. For a long time, well, for 3 years, I coached the little 5-year-old teams, soccer teams, called them knee kickers. And it was so much fun. Well, it was chaos, but a lot of fun. And then as our kids got older and played for other teams, we'd come up here and for their games and that sort of thing. Usually about this time of year, it would be kind of ending up for the season, and almost every year, the last game or so, they'd have at least one game where it was either snowing or called because of snowing, called off. What made me think of it was this little shed up here. We'd do little practices up here sometimes, or after the game, we'd have to clean up at the end if we were last game, and we'd put our gear in that little shed. And since then, they've built this pavilion, which I think might sell snacks in less fraught times. But they can get 2 or 3 games going at a time here. It's a lot of fun. Great community activities, as I said. We're going to walk around to the other side. See what we can see. So the National Guard Armory is that brick building down there. Hopefully we don't get sprinkled with these sprinklers. I'm not sure what they do with the rest of this space. Maybe it's rentable, or maybe I don't know if I can. It's just an empty building. It's pretty nice though. No cleats or muddy shoes allowed. Then here's the concessions. Oh, I guess you have to go downstairs for the concessions. We'll go down there and take a look, and then walk around. Oh, yeah. That's pretty sweet. Restrooms, gear rooms, concessions. Awesome. But we are going to go this way. we'll get to take a look at from above the cemetery. That's a hard one to come up with. These cottonwoods just the other side of these sprinklers. There's a road between us and the trees, but that's the cemetery. What do I call it? Sunset Hills, maybe? Something kind of generic like that. A lot of history in there. And then you can also see in the distance there the baseball field. I think they're the Livingston Braves. I've gotten called out about talking about that sort of thing, so I won't. In between us and the hill, that snowy hill, see there's a frontage road, and then there's a bunch of old cars, like a junkyard, and then I-90. And then over this way, beyond the fields, are the Absarica Beartooths again. Livingston Peak is the high one to the left. And my oldest son would be able to tell you all the different peaks, but I can't. Looks like they're running an aerator on the soil for the winter. Oh, somebody left a ball out here. Okay, off to the right, the baseball field, then the Fleshman Creek where we walked. I think it was this summer. And then to the right of that is a cemetery. And this is called the Constellation over there, or the North Star subdivision. I think they just call them the Constellation Streets. They're all like Nebula and other constellation names. I know Nebula is not a constellation, but, and just the other side of the railroad tracks is the frontage road, and then there's a big meadow, and that's a ranch. People still run cows out there, and I think one of them anyway, one of the ranches over there, runs Highland cattle, which are pretty cool to see. And then you've got the, I think it's called like Rock Canyon or something, where the Yellowstone flows through those mountains, and then beyond that is Paradise Valley. I want to thank you guys. We're going to wind this up here at 49 minutes, looks like. Thank you for joining us. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll give me some feedback in the comments. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't done so. And if you've made it this far, please click through on one of the other videos. That does help me a lot. That's one of the YouTube metrics that they look at to help share this on the homepage and as suggested videos. We will see you again very soon. I'm not sure where I'm going to walk next. Hopefully it'll be someplace awesome and relaxing. Until then, you guys keep on stepping.